Welcome to everybody for the 7th Clean Water Talks, Paani Pe Charcha. Today is a very special day, and in today's talk, we will be hearing Dr. TNVV Rao, who is the National Water Sector Specialist. As we go into the talks, I would like to introduce myself. I am Poonam Sevak from Safe Water Network, your host for Paani Pe Charcha. We represent the organization Safe Water Network. Safe Water Network is a New York-based NGO with operations in India and Ghana. Safe Water Network works on 3 pillars of policy, advisory, and field implementation. We have 450 decentralized safe water ATMs across India and Ghana, bringing safe water access to over 1.5 million people in both the countries. Besides this, we work with the government. We work in the advisory components to bring about policy changes so that we can bring affordable safe water to all the people. Till now, you would have noted that we were hosting our event with the USAID officer, Mr. Anand Rudra. Mr. Anand Rudra has retired, and today it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Mark Tegenfeld, who will be henceforth taking lead in this program. Mr. Mark is from the Director of General Development Office at USAID India. He has previously served in USAID missions in Democratic Republic of Congo, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, and Pakistan. He brings cross-sector technical expertise ranging from agriculture, energy, nutrition, business development, trade, and WASH. Before joining USAID, Mark has been an economic consultant in the private sector. He has an economics degree from University of Chicago and international development from American University. Please welcome Mark. Before we begin, I would like to give a very small introduction about what this Paani Pe Charcha talks is about. This talk brings about the sector leaders from across the country who share their best practices in water so that affordable water can be brought to people. Dr. TNVV Rao, who will be giving the talk on water quality assurance from water ATMs. Dr. TNVV Rao has over 30 years of experience in water purification technology and allied businesses. He has a very great industry expertise with working in Eureka Forbes, Givaudan, Chemplast, Sanmar, and Underwriters Laboratories. At Underwriters Laboratories, he has set up the first UL lab for Asia region. He is a member of technical committee from CII, Bureau of India Standards, and WQA, and is also an expert panel member at ASCII. He holds a master's in analytical chemistry and PhD in environmental chemistry from Andhra University. As we go into the talk, I would like to welcome our CEO, Mr. Kurt Soderland, who joins in from New York. Kurt has been joining this Paani Pe Charcha right from the first talk in the series from US. We also have from US another water sector, water quality colleague, Mr. Dan Bena. I have other water quality experts with us like Dr. Shweta. I look to a very interesting and an energizing talk today with all of you. Before I begin the talk, let us hear a few words from Mr. Mark.
Thanks, Poonam. Good afternoon to all of you. It's a great pleasure to be here today to participate in the 7th edition of the Clean Water Talks. This series through which we get to hear about the best practices from sector leaders in safe water enterprises. As all of you in the WASH sector know much more than me, water scarcity is becoming more and more severe. Some sources have estimated that by 2030, India's water demand will be twice the available supply, which obviously will have significant implications on health outcomes, livelihoods, and broader economic growth. Access to clean, safe drinking water is a problem in many countries around the world. Existing water systems can't keep up with population growth. New infrastructure requires large investments, as we know, and when the infrastructure is installed, often the water is not of adequate quality, and the list goes on. We must not allow ourselves to get discouraged, however. We must continue to challenge ourselves to find solutions to these obstacles. Innovative solutions that can deliver affordable, safe water, reliably and sustainably to the underserved. Safe Water Network's Small Water Enterprises is one such solution. It has been a great success in tackling urban water issues, while also helping small entrepreneurs to earn livelihoods. We must focus on ensuring that it can be scaled further and sustained. At USAID, water development issues have long been a priority, not only in India, but across more than 40 other countries where we work. Together with our partners, we work to provide underserved communities with improved sanitation services, water management, and safe drinking water. In India, USAID partners with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and other stakeholders to bring public and private sector leadership, talents, and resources together to create solutions for water, sanitation, and hygiene challenges like we are talking about today. We believe that this partnership between USAID, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and Safe Water Network will significantly contribute to successfully achieving the long-term goal of providing safe and affordable water to the urban poor in India. Safe Water Network has been promoting these water ATMs as a solution for providing clean water reliably and affordably. I have only been in Delhi for about a month now, but I've already had the chance to visit one of these ATMs, and I have seen others around the city. For this reason, I'm particularly interested in today's discussion. We will hear from Dr. TNVV Rao on the subject of water quality assurance for water ATMs. Thank you very much, Dr. Rao, for leading this session. I am looking forward to your presentation and to participating in the series going forward. Thank you again to Safe Water Network for their great work and for inviting me to join this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. At this point, before Dr. TNVV Rao begins, I would like to say we are joined by our sector partners from all across India. They are about 7 or 8 implementers who are working with us. And these implementers, if I go by name, include Drinkwell, Janajal, Water Life, Water Health. They include Right Water Solutions, Aquatech. They have been working with Safe Water Network for last 1.5 years to lead this alliance. Together, we work to influence policy so that the sector can scale up. We are also using these water ATMs during these COVID times as water knowledge resource centers, where these centers are doing the additional work of disseminating information which the government wants to disseminate to the wash sector, working with the communities to improve their health. And in the COVID times, we were able to serve these communities such that today these water knowledge resource centers are being used by the municipalities as the advocacy wall. So with this, I hand it over to Dr. TNVV Rao. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Poonamji, for your wonderful introduction. I would like to thank Mark for your wonderful inaugural introduction. Yes, please. So I could remember actually, I was a part of audit teams when I was working with UL. So we used to conduct rigorous audits for IGL stations at remote villages where the oldest plants also we audited. We used to audit electrical safety, water safety, fire safety, and all the aspects. Various experts from UL used to come and then audit the all IGL, most of the IGL stations in a particular frequency. So I would like to now start my presentation. And the topic, as you already seen, the water quality assurance at water ATMs. So I'm going to cover the four topics. Since the time is very short, I thought I will give a brief of what is the safe water, what is the meaning of the safe water, and what are the water ATMs, what are the benefits of water ATMs, and what quality assurance should be taken care at water ATMs, and also quality monitoring programs. And generally people ask when you wanted to do a lot of quality monitoring, what will the cost? So all those things are covered in my presentation. So as per this water, safe water, what is meaning by safe water? By World Health Organization has given as does not represent any significant risk to health over a lifetime of consumption. That means any water we consider as safe when it should not contain any pathogenic microorganisms. That means disease causing microorganisms should not be there. And also any chemicals which are below the specification safe limits of various geographies. So if you take different countries, in India, we follow IS 10500 standard. So it should meet that specification. Similarly, in various countries, there are various specifications are there. So they need to follow the local laws of the land. Here you can see the typical well-planned and well-designed station, water ATM station, where you can see very clean and neat plant, where sediment filter, carbon filters, and membranes, and electronics, and a lot of pumps are there. And there are so many components are there in the water ATMs. So generally, what is the meaning of water ATMs? Water ATMs are generally decentralized water purification plants that provide 24/7 safe and affordable drinking water to the communities where there are no safe water, where there are no safe safe water in the area. They are usually located in water quality affected habitations where to improve the water availability and accessibility. What are the benefits? Why we need to have ATMs? So it is safe and also affordable water, and also improved public health and reduced medical bills, like disease burden will be reduced when they use safe drinking water, and livelihood generation for the whoever is taking care of the plant, and removal of plastics coverage due to single-use plastics, because generally people purchase the single-use plastics where they consume water and throw the bottle, and that will be a big problem for future. So these are the benefits of ATMs. Yeah, when we talk about quality assurance, first we need to see what is the difference between quality control. This picture gives you a brief description of quality control, quality assurance, and quality management systems. Like as all of you know, quality control is part of quality assurance, and quality assurance and quality control part of quality management systems. So quality assurance is generally it's a process where we assess the total operations, and we record the operations, and we review the operations and remediate if there are any gaps in the operations. Those things can be remediated. So this is the very brief introduction of quality assurance. I will give you more details in the later slides. Yeah, here you can see various components of water quality assurance, what all the things we should take care. Like quality assurance, it doesn't mean that we have to give safe water only at one time, or 2 times or 3 times. It should be a consistent delivery of safe drinking water. So how we can meet that consistency? So by maintaining the quality assurance plans, quality assurance systems, then we can maintain the quality of the safe drinking water at the output. So for example, if you say it can be divided into so many components, like water quality testing is part of the quality assurance plan, where we used to test, we can test as per IS standard. IS 10500 is the drinking water specification. So we need to test as per the IS standard. And consistency of water source is very, very important. See, sometimes we have a groundwater where sometimes people don't have groundwater, they purchase a tanker waters. So the source will change. When we need to know when the sources are changing or seasonal variations, some pre-monsoon or post-monsoon, how the source water changes, that should be maintained, that should be observed first. And consistency in water treatment process. Suppose when you are using a plant where it is aging, suppose membranes are aging, membranes are not cleaned properly, or pre-filter is not cleaned properly. So there may be some chances of output water quality based on the treatment process. The process to be maintained consistently, and safety during storage and distribution. This is very, very important. See, when you take water is very pure when it's coming out from the plant, but after that you have to keep it safely, and you should avoid external contamination. So to avoid external contamination, people generally use a residual chlorine, where it can keep the water safe even though there is any external contamination. And tank cleaning is also very, very important. The frequency of cleaning and all I'll be showing at the later slides. And also usage of the bottle. There are people who use a wide mouth bottles like buckets or something like that, where what happens is the external contamination chances are more. So generally suggested is the narrow neck containers, which can avoid additional contaminations. And finally, I can say consistency of facility operation. The management, the hygienic management in the premises is very, very important. When the plant, the source of the water, the borewell or groundwater where we are taking, the surrounding should be clean and neat. There should not be any like toilet pits surrounded. All those things should be taken care while taking that source of the water. And electrical safety is very, very important. Many places there are electrical fire and all those things can happen. And piping and types of piping, it should be good, and there should not be any leakages and all. And personal, they should have a personal hygiene, and also they should be a trained personnel. See, training is very, very important in this aspect. So if you see all those things together, we can call as a quality assurance. When we take care of all these components, so most of the quality assurance plans will be met. So here I have given water quality monitoring programs. Like generally people use different types of monitoring programs, but there should be a uniformity where the consistency is important. So here we can consider as two parts. One is water ATM level, that means at the site. We can do some of the tests at the site, like suppose AOT, like taste, odor and appearance, total dissolved solids, pH, free residual chlorine. All these things can be tested at the field level itself, where ATM is available. They can do it and monitor continuously. Like pH can be monitored by pH small tester, and also TDS can be tested by TDS tester. Similarly, chlorine also can be tested. There are field tests are available. Field test kits are available for hardness. So those things can be used, and they can do daily tests and record those things in a proper manner. And other way is a third-party testing lab, because once we have our own manufacturing or of water, and we are testing our own. So some people will ask, how can I believe what you are giving the correct results or not? So it is advisable to get it tested at the third party. Generally, we select the third party as NABL accredited laboratories. NABL is a National Accreditation Board of Laboratories. That means ISO IEC 17025 certified laboratories. So generally, it is advisable to go for ISO IEC 17025 or NABL accredited laboratories to get the water tested. The frequency and all, I can say annual, biannual or quarterly. The clear frequencies are given in the next slides. But these are the generally testing programs can be planned. Yeah, here you can see very clearly at the time of installation. It's a very, very important when we are installing the equipment or machine. Pre-survey is very, very important. As I mentioned to you, the groundwater from where they are taking, is there any contamination chances surrounding the ground source water? Those things are to be first tested and seen. After that, we need to test the complete IS 10500. There are almost like 64 parameters are there. So most of the parameters are to be tested before installation and for the source water. And certified laboratories of NABL, which can test ISO, IEC 17025 laboratories, and they should test as per IS 10500. So more frequent testing is recommended if quality changes are observed. Suppose if the source is changing from groundwater to surface water or tank water, if there are any changes, so we need to retest the water. Otherwise, this is the frequency is advisable, like treated water, like 2 times in a year is advisable. Like generally selection should be pre and post monsoon, because post monsoon there may be chances of dilution. So we recommend to go for testing for pre and post monsoon. And raw water 2 times in a year is recommended. And pre and this also pre and post monsoon. And reject water, generally it is not for drinking application. So we suggest 1 time in a year will be sufficient. This is to like compliance requirements are there, how to dispose those things. For that, we need to get it tested. So these are the frequencies of different types of waters to be tested at ATMs. And here you can see right side, there is a typical test report we had attached. And you can see the right side, the logo, that is NABL logo. And the laboratory should be NABL, so that the results and all should be correct. And it's a very small letters, but this is the typical report what we get from the NABL laboratories. Here, this is the left side, you can see the specifications, IS specifications, IS 10500 2012 is the IS specification in the Bureau of Indian Standards specification for drinking waters. This is generally followed in India. And right side, you can see few parameters, because every time testing all the parameters, 64 parameters, where radionuclides to be tested, so many pesticides to be tested, all those things will be difficult. That is the reason we recommend, we can suggest these are the few parameters which will be giving an indicative of the water, whether it is safe or not. It may not be 100% because we are not testing everything, but at least it gives some idea. For example, if you take color, odor, pH should be 6.5 to 8.5. And here, if you take in Indian standard, there are 2 standards are given, that is requirement and also permissible in the absence of alternate sources. But in general, we suggest to go with the requirement. And like suppose TDS should be less than 500, total hardness should be less than 200. So these are the specifications. This is the document is available. Anybody can download and see the specifications and all. But what we say, this is the specifications followed in India for safe drinking water. Now, this is a very small letters. It is difficult to read, but I will just give you how we do the preventive maintenance, because it's very important in a part of, as a part of quality assurance, we need to have a preventive maintenance for various parts of the water treatment system. For example, pre-filter or carbon filter or pumps or dosing pumps are there, or so many like raw water tanks are there, post water tanks are there, or pipes are there. So there are so many components which needs to be maintained properly. That's called a preventive maintenance. So here scheduling of the task is very, very important. Here I gave a very detailed list, like what has to be done daily, what has to be done weekly, what has to be done in a different frequencies. This is a suggestion, this is the guideline, what we had made. And this is the scheduling of the task. And also once we do the maintenance, then we need to make a log. This is one of the typical log sheet is provided here, where people have to record all the findings in the maintenance. Yeah, safety during the storage and distribution. As I mentioned earlier also, this is very, very important. And for example, is the storage tank, the post water. After treatment, the water has to be stored, and then only it will come to the ATMs. The dispensing systems. So keeping the hygienic conditions of the storage tank is very, very important. Yeah, and the frequent cleaning, the frequency should be defined, and the defined frequency, all the records are to be maintained. And the material of construction of the storage tank is very, very important. We cannot use any like plastic or anything. Most of the things should be food grade material. Wherever water, final water is in contact, that should be a food grade, and regular cleaning is recommended. And residual disinfection, as I mentioned, to avoid any external contaminations, we need to put some required residual chlorine in the water, and also suggested narrow mouth screw capped containers to avoid external contamination. And cleaning of the containers also is very important. On most of the stations, ATMs, they give a cleaning solution with a cleaning procedure. The tanks can be cleaned. When they bring the tank, they can clean it, and then they can collect the water. Yeah, this is a consistency of facility operations. This is very, very important. Operator training is very, very important. Training schedules and all, and the record maintaining of the training is very important. Whenever there are change in the technician, we need to give on-job training programs, and we need to record the same thing. These are all part of quality assurance. So here you can see the typical program, typical plant where the operator, how hygienically he is doing, and it should be like very systematic way he need to do the total operations. And it is not only the water safety, it is also important. A building safety is also important for a fire safety. And also, like any of the plants, what we suggest is there should not be any wooden pots where the algae or fungal infections can happen when it is wet. So we need to check all those aspects in the audits, the frequent audits to be done. And also there should not be any leakages in the pipes, and dust should not be there. Regular maintenance is required, and all the maintenance should be recorded. And electrical safety, as I mentioned, most of the things are enclosed. Any electrical things should be enclosed, and fire safety also is to be taken care. These are the to maintain the consistency of the facility. All these things are required as a part of quality assurance. Yeah, quality monitoring program budgeting. Like many people ask, as I mentioned in the beginning itself, what will be the cost? You are telling so many things to be done, and what will be the cost of all the things? Because it has to be economical also. Once you do all these things, you need to be able to sell at a affordable price. If you spend a lot of money for maintenance and then if you charge the consumers, it is very difficult. So that is the reason we had given a few details in that. Station level monitoring, how we do, and external lab testing, how do we do. This already told earlier, but still I am just giving you once again. The handheld instruments can be purchased. These are all not expensive equipments, and consumables and reagents, and also calibration. Once in a year, definitely we need to calibrate all the equipments. Otherwise, whatever results we are producing, we don't know whether it is right or not. So calibration is very, very important in terms of quality assurance plans. And field test kits, which are certified field test kits, we need to use for fluoride or arsenic or anything. Depends on the geography. We need to test those parameters. And external lab testing, generally raw water, as I mentioned, twice in a year, treated water also twice in a year, and reject water once in a year. We calculated approximately it is 15,000 rupees per station per year for testing of all these parameters at external laboratories and all together. So this is actually quality monitoring program budgeting, we can say. I'm through with my presentation, and we have more time for the question and answers. It's my pleasure to answer if you have any questions.
So thank you very much, Dr. Rao. I request the participants to post their questions which they would like to ask Dr. Rao. And as we receive more questions, Dr. Rao, I have two questions for you. One of which is, because plant water manufacturing is done by a semi-skilled person in the villages. So please give an example of advisory for quality assurance. How was this implemented at that level?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. Actually, as I also agree with you, they are not very skilled people. You won't get it at that particular place, because these are all very remote areas. So it's very important to have a training. As I mentioned in my presentation also, anybody new person joins, on-job training is very, very important. Then frequency of training, the scheduling of training, and the people who can train should also be knowledgeable. Like as I mentioned, I saw IGL stations where I was an auditor. So we could see the lot of like a tablet where all the operations are given in the tablet, where people can easily learn. Nowadays, it's a technological world. So where anybody, like if you say, even if they are semi-skilled, everybody uses mobiles. So everybody knows how to use a tablet. So if we are able to give all the details in a tablet and ask them to read or go through once again every time, then they will also be used to that. And I saw many stations where they are able to maintain very well, even though they are not very well educated.
Thank you very much for this answer. Another question is, during the COVID times, what were the special water quality assurance processes and procedures adopted?
Yeah, in general, the tank, the cleaning procedures are very, very important. Like whenever the people wanted water, they bring their cans, and when they use a narrow mouth containers, there the chances of contamination is less. And person actually is already suppose infected if that person has come. And many stations, people put the disinfectant liquids and the outside. So the best practice, what we have to tell the consumers, saying that they have to first wash their hands and they have to use their masks and all, then clean the container, then use the water ATM for collecting the water and keep the cap tight. So by using the hand wash, frequent hand washing when they are collecting water, and also by using a mask, so this can be avoided, any of the contamination.
Thank you very much. There is another question from Mr. Abhishek. He asks, any alternate for residual disinfection other than chlorine?
There are some, but generally we also should need to understand the cost of the disinfection, the residual disinfection. Generally people use chlorine, like hypochlorite they can use, or any chlorine tablets are available. That is food grade chlorine tablets, that is NADCC tablets are available, which are not very expensive, and it is easy to use it. And there some people use some of the UF they use, or some people use nano silver media they use. It all depends on the cost and also availability of those things. Otherwise, those are alternates are like ultrafiltration or UV anyway people are using. And whenever they collect water, just before dispensing, if they put a UV or UF, it can be possible. Or silver, people use a nano silver also for additional
so, thank you. We will move on to the next question, and
yes,
there
please.
are quite a few. At least I would like to address you to address 4 more questions.
Yes.
The next question is, where do we get the handheld instruments and the other instruments which you mentioned can be used at the site of manufacturing the water?
Yeah, the TDS meter actually, there is a TDS 3 that is available, and also Henna is the company people. I'm not like those are the companies where the TDS meter and pH meter they are available. Even residual chlorine testing, digital testing also is available with Henna, and these are available in the any of the online
thank you.
sites.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think we get the answer for the handheld instruments. Everybody is urged to go through the catalog of the Henna to see what fits their requirement. Next question, please. That is, how the underground water contamination is controlled around the water ATM, and do we have a frequency protocol to monitor it?
Yeah, generally in my presentation also I mentioned, while installing or the machine, we need to first see the source water, from where water is taken. So surrounding, we need to check where there is any toilet pits are available nearby, or any how they are maintained. Generally, what people are using is, as a best practice, they do a cementing of the surrounding the where the groundwater is taken, the pipe, where they put the surrounding cementing, and also they put a lock and key, so that nobody can go there and do something there. So that is the frequency, that is the precautions we need to take.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next question. This question is from Mr. Madhu Krishnamurthy from Water Health. He says, while the field test kits are available for testing the physical and certain other contaminants, chemical contaminants, do we have a kit for microbiological testing in the field?
Yes, there are microbiological kits are available, but these kits are not very sensitive, like compared to the MPN test, what the most probable number, what we do for total coliforms in the laboratories. That is a more accurate, like less than 2 microorganisms per 100 ml that we can detect there. But here we may not be able to detect, but there are microorganism testing kits are available. So even Mumbai, there are suppliers, and there are H2S test strips are available, where if you put the water, then it becomes, if there is any H2S production because of the microorganisms, the water will become blackish. We can say there are microorganisms present or not, non-present only we can say, but exact concentration difficult in the field test kit.
Thank you, sir. Two more questions.
Yes.
This is from Mr. Dan Benna. He asks, first of all, he congratulates you on the excellent presentation that you have made. And then he wants to get your perspective on the value of formal water safety plan for every station.
Oh, it's yes. Thank you. Actually, it's a very good question. What is the value? Because the intended purpose for the water ATMs is to give a safe water. So if we are not able to give safe water by not making the quality assurance plans, then the purpose of making ATMs is also, it invalids. So what I feel is it's very important to have water quality assurance plans at water ATMs to provide safe drinking water.
This question is from Mr. Kurt Soderland, our CEO. He says, given the fragmented industry, especially the water ATM and the decentralized safe water industry, is there any thought on how there may be a consolidation of the training, the WQA programs, so that we are able to effectively reduce the costs?
Yeah, it is actually, I was a part of WQA standards committee. So there are people who made the standards for water, like water equipments. It is not for water, it's water equipments. So it's very important to have easy to maintain the quality assurance plans at the water stations. And there are good training programs are available, which I feel Safe Water Network has done a lot of work in this area, where by using those knowledge centers, knowledge already made, and by using that, definitely we can achieve whatever we need.
So thank you very much for taking this volley of questions, which were plenty, I must say. We had a very good participation from the industry and the water sector people from India and also across the globe. And as we end the session, I would ask Mr. Mark to give the concluding remarks.
Hi, thanks. Just to conclude, I just want to say thank you as well, Dr. Rao, for your time. The session was very interesting, and I think others found it as well, given the questions that were asked. So I want to say thank you. And actually, Poonamji, I'm going to let you have the last word in this situation. So over to you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure to have you and for you to be introduced to all the Seva Alliance partner and the key team members. I am very pleased that our CEO, who has consistently been joining these Paani Pe Charcha Clean Water Talks right from inception, is also there. Let me ask Kurt, would you like to say a few words?
First of all, thank you very much for the series. Has been terrific, and particularly the participation of all the Alliance members, which has really been outstanding, and see some momentum growing about how to really consolidate effort and bring focus to how we work together more collectively. And I think one of the, behind the question that I had asked, and I think I've occasionally been probing the group to understand how can we do more together ultimately, and we're all doing such dedicated work and so many communities that we're touching. I think the big question is ultimately coming out of this series, what's next, and how do we consolidate our efforts and leverage expertise across all of the participating organizations so that we can have even more impact and reach many more people. But thank you, Poonam, thank you all for participating. It's been terrific to see the progress over the past, really, I guess, 2-3 years now in this effort.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and taking your thought a bit ahead. This is exactly the purpose of the Seva program, which is being promoted under the USAID. And I must say that our partners, the Seva Alliance partner, each one of them is a gem. we are all working collaboratively, sharing our knowledge and the best practices. And a few examples to share on the table just now, which comes to my mind, is that the Safe Water Enterprise Alliance Secretariat in the Q2 was managed by Janajal, where they brought in experts from various industries from Southeast Asia region and held 2 seminars, one on innovative technologies and solutions and another one on funding. They led the alliance very strongly. They conducted various programs along with the municipalities, and currently the same alliance in the Q3 is being led under the leadership of Mr. Madhu Krishnamurthy from Water Health, and very soon you'll be hearing from him. He has also planned 2 private sector participation conferences. So by and by, all the alliance partners are bringing to the table their value proposition and how we collectively can grow the sector. Some examples of it are in the reports which we have collectively built and submitted to work with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And these includes the Women Empowerment Gender Toolkit in Decentralized Safe Water ATMs, for an example. And the second example I would like to quote is Making Cities Water Positive, which was very recently showcased at the Stockholm World Water Week, where Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, along with National Clean Ganga Mission and Hyderabad Municipality had come. There were lessons drawn, which we built up together. So we hope to take it further. So this is my 2 bits to the big question you had asked. And with this, I would like to thank all the participants. I would like to thank Mark, Srini, Kurt, Dr. Veena Khanduri. We didn't hear from you today, but thanks for joining in. And all the people, even if I have missed your names, we are very grateful to you. Thank you so much.